This lesson is on perfect square trinomials. At the top is your two identities because they can be in one of two forms. Remember that if the end is positive, the signs have to be the same in parentheses. So since the middle is positive, you have a positive, positive. If the middle is negative, you have two negatives. Since they are the same thing, we can write it as squared. Do you have to memorize these forms? No. You can use one of the other ways that we've learned to factor and still come up with the same answer. This just helps you come up with that shortcut. So we have a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So your square of the first term of the binomial. You have twice the product of the binomial's first and last terms. And you have a square of the last term of the binomial. So here's our two examples. X squared plus 8x plus 16. We broke it down into this form. X squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So sometimes it's probably easier if you do the first and the last and then fill in the middle. So then your b term is 4, your a term is x, and it's squared. So you could use one of your other ways. So this would be an easy trinomial. What multiplies to 16 and adds to 8? 4 and 4. So they're exactly the same. In the next one, it's a little bit more difficult because it's that AC grouping. So it might be easier if you try this formula. It's a perfect square and a perfect square. So your A is 2x, your B is 5. This is pretty cool. All right, can you pause the video and try at least the first example and then start when you're ready? Hopefully you did all right. If you follow the formula, it's actually pretty easy. The next one has 2 variables. Think you can try that one? Again, if we use the formula, so what squared is 81x squared? So that would be 9x. What's the perfect square? And then we have minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So what's the perfect square of 4y squared? 2y. So a is 9x, b is 2y. 9 times 2 is 18, times 2 is 36, x times y. So bingo, it works. So our factor is a, which is 9x, minus, because it's a subtraction, 2y, which is our b, and we square it. Super cool. All right, so we have this last part, something called a perfect square trinomial factor. So it holds the same idea as what we were doing with the formula above, except you're kind of working backwards, I guess. So they've given us this and we have to use the formula. So a is x plus 2 times x times what plus what squared? Well, if we know this middle term is 6x, what does this have to be? What does my missing parenthesis have to be in order for it to equal 6x? Well, I already have 2x, so I need to multiply by 3. Well, that means that's my b value. So 3 squared is 9. Okay. All right, what about the next one? 4a squared minus 20a. Well, if I use the idea of the formula, 2a squared minus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So again, negative 20a. Right now I have negative 4a. So this has to be 5a. So this has to be 5a. Oops. A times a is a squared. I don't have an a squared here. Oops. No a. So now 2 times 2 is 4, times 5 is 20a. Okay. So 5 squared is 25. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Good luck.